Our next question, I'm going to once again introduce the State House Bureau Chief from the Bangor Daily News, Chris Cousins.
Thanks, Greg. Our next question is about jobs and the economy, which has been a central theme in this campaign and probably just about every other gubernatorial campaign. On your website, Governor LePage, you've said that you've helped lower the unemployment rate, which was higher than the national average when you took office. And you've said that we can't go, quote, back to the failed policies of the past. But your opponents criticize you for your economic leadership as well. Eliot Cutler, for example, has criticized you for your oversight of Kate Street and the investments at Great Northern Paper, which is now bankrupt. So let's get at this disagreement right now.
Okay.
Why are you the best one to grow Maine's economy and create more good-paying jobs? Based on our format, we'll begin with Eliot Cutler.
Oh. You'll definitely get to respond, Governor. You'll get the final word before we get to discussion. Eliot Cutler, please.
What was the question to me? That was a question.
Why is your jobs
plan?
plan? Why is your jobs plan the best, Mr. Cutler?
I'm sorry?
Why is your jobs plan the best?
It's the best because it recognizes that we are changing in Maine. We are in a period of real transition. It started a long time ago. It started when the shoe factories left New England, when the textile mills left New England, and now it's coming into a crisis for us because the paper mills are now beginning to change. We're losing mills. And the people who are losing their jobs in Bucksport, in Old Town, in Millinocket, deserve our imagination, they deserve our creativity, they deserve our hard work. That's why I suggested that the state buy the power plant in Bucksport at the mill, 275 megawatts. We could supply 4 cent a kilowatt hour electricity and process heat and steam to bring new manufacturing to Bucksport, new jobs. We need imagination. We need someone in office who has created jobs. I have. We need someone in office who can manage the most complicated enterprise in the state of Maine, and that's the state government.
Same question to Mike Michaud, please.
Okay. Thank you. The most important thing we can do to get the economy moving is to replace this governor as governor. If you look at Forbes, under his administration, Forbes, through the 4 years, has been rated 50th in the country as the worst place to do business in. We're 47th in the country as far as economic growth. The governor has no plan how we're going to move this state forward. The instability and unpredictability of this administration and its policies has failed to really make Maine move forward in a positive direction to create growth. The reason why my economic development plan is crucial for the state of Maine is it builds upon our strength. Small businesses, 97% of the businesses are small businesses. My plan talks about how we can grow that. Making Maine the food basket for New England. There's a great opportunity here in Maine with farming and fishing and the processing of those facilities. Maine Technology Institute came out with a report just recently, said the job growth here in the state of Maine, the potential for good-paying jobs is in the clean, renewable energy sector. And it's my goal as governor to reduce our dependency on home heating oil by 50% by the year 2030 using clean, renewable energy. The governor doesn't believe in the wind power, doesn't believe in solar power. This is an area where we actually can grow the economy here in the state of Maine. And the budget stability is another area. The governor, with his budgets, the way he's been doing, is not a stable budget.
We need to give the governor a chance. It's your turn now. 1 minute, please. Audience, please. We need to hear from Governor LePage. Same question on your jobs plan.
Okay. Just number one, this Maine plan, it sounds like a recipe for blueberry cobbler because you have no details behind it. The fact of the matter is, and to the question, I never said, and my website doesn't say that I lowered the income tax. Lowered the unemployment rate. What we said is, we changed the environment to lower and help business create jobs because I cannot create jobs. I can only hire more government employees or lay them off, which we, by the way, have laid off 3,500 jobs are gone now through attrition. Now, Kate Street, let's talk about the economics. $15.6 million, 7 years. We created 257 people came to work for nearly 2.5 years, $40 million payroll, $9 million we avoided in unemployment tax, $100 million in wood purchases and $250 million annually to the local economy. Employ more than 1,600 people, both direct and indirect, and I'd do it tomorrow all over again.
And let's get to some discussion now. Eliot Cutler, you indicated you'd like to continue.
Governor, you said it was a bad deal before. It still is. You said you'd do it again. I guess you still will. And I'm afraid for Bucksport. I'm afraid for Millinocket. I'm afraid for Old Town. And I'm afraid for Maine taxpayers who are going to be writing checks for $16 million to a bunch of investors in Louisiana for a mill that is bankrupt, instead of giving that money to the people who are going to buy oil, need the money to buy oil this winter to heat their homes. This is something we can't afford. We cannot afford bad deals. I want to add one more thing. Through this entire discussion, no one has talked about Maine's workforce. Every single employer, every one of the small businesses across the state of Maine, and big businesses as well, has said the one thing we need, beyond lower taxes, beyond lower energy prices, we need a skilled, trained, educated, young, healthy workforforce. And we don't have a plan in place to do that.
I'm going to need to jump in.
And I totally disagree with that.
Hold on, audience, please.
Unequivocally, I do agree. Workforce development is very, very important. And I don't know which businesses you're talking to, but I will tell you right now, the president of Bucksport said the increase in gas in their natural gas this winter is going to be $20 million between December 1st and April 1st. That's the increase. If we give them $20 million, they'll stay open. Old Town, we communicated with the ownership. They said they closed down because of the cost of energy. Millinocket closed down because of the cost of energy. I just came back from Baileyville recently, and they told me, Governor, we need your help. The cost of energy is going to skyrocket this winter. And folks, it's not just in energy. It's not just in business. It's also residential. And Mike, you say, I don't believe in renewables. Last week I told you about windmills. Tonight I'm going to tell you about solar panels. Bucksport, 290 megawatts of power. To replace that with solar panels, $8 million, or it cost about $50 million to build it. To do it with solar panels, $8,245,000 solar panels at a cost of $7 billion, and it would need somewhere around 750 acres of nothing but solar panels. Mike, it's in the future. I will agree with you. Today, it's not ready.
And obviously, Congressman Michaud, audience, Congressman Michaud, obviously your chance to respond.
Thank you. One area I think that Eliot and I can agree on, the governor has no plan to economic plan, and definitely no energy plan. The diversionary tactic, particularly as you look at the natural gas issue, the bottleneck is in Massachusetts. This governor actually did not meet with the New England governors when they sat down to talk about energy policy in a two-day conference. He sent his staff there for that meeting versus himself. And I can understand why the governor doesn't want to talk about the other New England governors. There's one issue that really you think the governors would actually agree on is that the opiate addiction that crosses state lines. When they had a meeting, invited all the governors, this governor chose not to attend. He said it was a photo op. Well, how are you going to work with the New England governors to get that gas pipeline extension here in the state of Maine when you're criticizing them at the same time?
I'm going to jump in right. Go ahead.
We need an energy plan. This governor does not have an energy plan, and it's time to put aside partisan politics.
First of all, I told you that last week. 3 Republican governors will take care of that. Now, let's talk about not going to meet with a governor where I don't have the energy expertise. They do. Deval Patrick, the governor of Massachusetts, was in our coalition. We had 5 in the coalition. And then he came up here and he stumped with you for a few days. He went back to Massachusetts and pulled out of the coalition. I don't know what you talked about, but if you're so strong with him, call him up, get him back in.
I got it. Hold on. Audience, just one moment, please. This is not a two-person debate. Eliot Cutler, this is a chance for you to jump in, please.
I want to say something to the people of Bucksport and to the people of Millinocket. You have great assets in your communities. You have the Penobscot River, and Brookfield has said, we will sell 4.5 cents a kilowatt hour electricity to any credit-worthy company that comes to Millinocket and East Millinocket. In Bucksport, you have a 275 megawatt power plant from which we could sell, if the state owned it, 4 cents a kilowatt hour electricity, 33 million gallons worth of oil burn to get process heat and steam, the equivalent of what comes out of that plant. These are real assets. And folks, you ought to be asking the governor, and you ought to be asking Mr. Michaud, what are you going to do to restart our economies and rebuild these communities?
Now, we're up against a break. However, I'm going to extend it to Congressman Michaud and Governor LePage, and then we'll hit a break. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Thank you. The governor said he's waiting for Republican governors to get elected in New England. You don't have to wait. All you got to do is be willing to sit down at the table and talk with them on those issues. Governor, you say you're not a politician.
No, I'm not.
You're the best politicians I've ever seen. You know the issues that divide Maine voters, immigration and welfare. Governor, what you're not is you're not a leader. You don't know how to bring people together to solve the problems that we're facing here in the state of Maine.
And obviously, a rebuttal to that, please.
I will.
Audience, please.
I will say this. I will repeat it again. Please call Deval Patrick, get him back in the coalition. But I will say this to Mr. Cutler. I agree that Brookfield has hydropower, and I agree that Bucksport has got it's gross 290 megawatts, 275.
275.
But this is the issue. That takes about 50, 60 people to run. There are 570 that are going to get laid off. My point is, let's get some money into those machines and convert them to a product that's going to make money for Mainers.
And my sense of fairness, last word on this topic. Eliot Cutler, please.
You know, if you make another deal like Kate Street, Governor, those folks are going to be out in the cold again.
Governor, I'll give you 15 seconds if you wish to respond.
You know, 4 years, 5 years ago, I guess 5 years you've been running for governor now, I told you back then that lawyers weren't not known for their mathematical skills. I repeat myself tonight. Eliot, you're an attorney, not a businessman.
Unless you mentioned one of your opponents, I'm going to extend. You get the chance to respond.
All I know is about margins, and you buy low and sell high.
Yeah.
Governor, do you wish?
Did well, didn't we?
All right, that's it. We're up. I appreciate the audience mostly controlling themselves during that. We're up a very quick break. We're going to take 60 seconds to get a little water. We'll come right back.